Hi, okay, so I don't know what's up with this angle. Anyways, I lost the footage corrupted. So it's no video of me, just audio. It is a podcast, so it doesn't matter, but I still like to have that video anyways when I upload it. But it just, yeah, I was not gonna re-record all of that just to have a video for a podcast. It doesn't make sense. So you don't get to see my beautiful face. Also, you might be able to tell that this was supposed to come out earlier in July, but it didn't. And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, so just to clarify everything, I think that was it. Enjoy.
Hello, guys. I'm trying to make sure it's still in focus. It is, I think. I literally have I'm not using my front facing camera, so I have a mirror that I'm trying to look in. Inception right now. I think it's good. But anyways, you're not here to look at me. You're here to hear my voice, me talk about stuff. Yeah. So what are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about meeting yourself where you are, which is something that I have been struggling to do, and that's why I was gone for a month. So I'm coming back to you with real life experience, for better, for worse. But it was for better. Honestly, it was. Yeah. Um. Normally, I would find a way to get it in there. Um. How to do the intro, but it's not scripted, guys. It's just me in my room, me in my room. But you guys missed that little jingle. Okay. I'm wearing a skirt, and I am wondering if I should just change because I am fighting to not lift my leg and show too much on camera. Being a lady is hard. Um. Okay, I'll be fine. I'm gonna sit normal today. I can do it, even though it's June. So it feels like a hate crime to make me have to sit straight. Yeah. Honestly, some of the things, you shouldn't stereotype, but is it a stereotype if there is just a lot of data to support it? Okay? There's just something about certain people in the queer community not being able to sit straight that I feel like at this point has been proven through community data. I don't know, personal studies. I know that Harvard, so is that, are they the science? I don't know. There's obviously been no official studies done that I know of, actually. But it's still a fact. It's still a fact that sitting properly does not come easy to everybody. But yes, it is June. Be who you are for your friend. And that's my contribution to the month. um, no, but honestly, I am very happy and very just excited. It's summertime in Canada, so in general, I'm just everything is awesome. Not really, but there's something about sun that just makes it easier to be delusional. Yeah, and then you throw in all the lovely events. It's just a bonus. It's a little treat. It's an extra reward for surviving winter. Okay, they said we're gonna celebrate you surviving winter because it's summer events, and we're also gonna celebrate you surviving being queer and surviving winter because it's a layer. It's one thing to survive winter as a straight person, but I just feel I'm just talking my ass right now. Yeah, but the point is, I'm excited. Last year, I did nothing. I was oh, all those events. I'm busy doing nothing. I was busy being depressed at work, but not this year. Hot girl summer, rat girl summer, whatever summer you want, just be outside. That is literally, except for today, because apparently there's an air quality warning. Scary. But after today, I don't care what type of summer you're going to have, just do outside. Do outside. And, obviously we can't be out and about every day. So I'm hearing that it's like a 2-day minimum we're allowed to be inside. And you don't even have to interact with people when you go outside. Like, most of last summer, I was just in a park chilling by myself on a fucking blanket. But the point is, I was outside. What they say about fresh air and touching grass is true. And this is something that they did do studies on. So, I don't know what else to say. Get the fuck outside. Okay? And for those people who have good weather 24/7, 365 days of the year, I'm not speaking to you. I'm not. Okay? Because it just doesn't matter for you, I'm talking to the people who suffer for what should be 6 months, but it's actually 8 to 9. And for the people who like winter, I don't know what to say to you. Why are you here? Why are you on my channel mocking me? Anyways, I just can't relate to that lifestyle that you're living, enjoying the cold. So that's been your PSA. Happy to be gay and happy to be outside in the sun. Okay? And that's actually the podcast. Thank you so much, guys, for listening in. I'm just kidding. I figured, we should start off on a fun note. Not that we're necessarily going to a sad note, but it just wasn't fun for me to experience these things that I did. But let's get into it. Let me share. Okay, so it's not even a juicy story either. Like, it literally was just that I had a deadline for something, and I could have handled it a lot differently than I did. But at the end of the day, like, I literally just had this apprenticeship thing that I'm applying for, and I needed to, and it's because I needed to like update my portfolio. Like, my resume is fine, but my portfolio being like my actual works that I made, whether that's like patterns I've drafted, things I've sewn, like my illustrations, right? All that good stuff. So I also have not been doing anything. I've done some drawing because you've seen it on the channel, but like sewing, I've done nothing of, or just really creating in the sense of like I think of a concept and I bring it to life, like start to finish. I haven't really been doing anything of that. So when I got the email and they were like, "Hey guys, if you're like interested in like being in the pool this year, then you need to submit your updated stuff." And then I was like, "Oh my god, I don't have any updated stuff." Damn. So I was like, okay, I have like almost 2-ish months to create some things so I can add them to my portfolio and then resubmit everything. And it just should have gone a lot simpler. Like, instead of just, I don't know, like I scheduled out, I had my ideas and I knew what I needed to be doing. That was a hard one. I just didn't do it. I froze up on myself, and procrastination like had me by the neck, and it didn't let me go until like almost a week before it was due, and I hadn't really done as much as I needed to. So I just like went into fucking like overdrive and was staying up till like 3 a.m. and still going to work. And it was not good. It was not good. And at the end of it, it was like the day before, and it was really late, and I just like I had an issue with my zipper to the point where I had to fully take it out, and that fabric I was working with, like I'm also, as I'm telling you this, I'm thinking back to how I felt in that moment, and it's just like, it's very thumbs down, guys. Okay, so anyways, let me just finish. I fucked up my zipper, and my fabric was not forgiving, so what was supposed to be a dress turned into a shirt, and I also needed a new zipper that I didn't have, and also didn't have access to because it was 11 p.m. at night, and nothing's open. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I just submitted like what I had, and it's not that big of a deal like at all because I obviously just submitted like what was completed. And the thing is, like, I made a website and I can update that website at any point in time because they have the link for it. So like whatever I update, it's gonna show real time. So yeah, and I still haven't even finished some of the things because I just like, I don't know, just like every time I look at it, I'm like thinking about how I felt, and then I just don't want to touch it, right? So I ended up burnt out. I didn't finish what I wanted to. And I just ended up feeling just like so garbage about the whole situation and how it turned out. At this point, I'm asking myself, like, girl, what is going on? You know, like, I just had a moment where I was like, you could have just submitted what you had as soon as you got that email and then started working on anything you needed to and just updated it at any point in time. Because, like I just said, it's a website. So you can update it anytime you fucking want. And then, like, the pressure that I would have felt to, like, meet deadlines would have evaporated immediately. And on one hand, that would have been good because, like, a lot of the pressure of, like, meeting the deadline and just, like, trying to create something that I felt was even good enough to put on my portfolio within that time frame was something that really just, like, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I can, you know. So I just got really in my head about it. And that's what I mean when I say, like, I froze up and I really didn't work on it as much as I could have. Um, but had I not been so stressed about trying to create this perfect something in 2 months, because I had already submitted. So at this point, it was just creating a little something to show something new to add to my portfolio. So that's one thing. Um, how does this like relate to what I said what the topic of the podcast was, right? Which was like meeting yourself where you are. I am a procrastinator. I've always been a procrastinator, but the thing is, like in the past, I could finish. I could like I one time I literally redid a whole project in class. But when the day of the presentation, I redid all my shit, finished it before it was my time to go up because I knew because he like wrote out when everybody was going. So I was like one of the last people to go. So I was like, no, I can redo this in like 30-ish minutes. And I did. And I got a great mark on it. Like that is the level at which I was procrastinating. I mean, I guess that's not really procrastinating because it was a finished project that I just restarted. But there have been cases of like overnight essays or garments, just things like that, and I have never had an issue getting things done. So that's why like going into this, a part of me was like, you've done it before, girl. Don't worry about it. Okay, you can do this project in 2 weeks if you want it, right? Um, so there's that, and then there's also the half of like just having that idea of like I need to have that perfect something, right? Like I need to like I don't know, show that I can perform at a certain level, like show that I am like I think that's the nerve-wracking thing about portfolios in general is that I'm trying to show like so much just through like a couple selected projects. So like adding that pressure on it and knowing that like there's a lot of people who are applying to this and I'm just like, damn, you gotta make sure you can compete, girls. You gotta make sure that it's good and like no, not just good though, like perfect, perfect. So I had all those kind of running around, right? So I was not operating from a place of reality. Okay, I was not meeting myself where I realistically was. And what do I mean by that? Let's start from the top. Let's start from the top. Um, all those times that I was procrastinating and doing things like that, those were times in which my responsibility level and my ability to commit time to these projects was very different from what it is now. All of these times was when I was still in school, even for college. I didn't work when I was in college because I couldn't get a job. So there was that. It just didn't work out for me that way because I went to school all the way like in Windsor, so I was only there for the school year. But aside from that, like I also just didn't have time. Like all of my time was spent in labs trying to get stuff done. Um, but like procrastinating when the only thing you have to work on is school still leaves you with time to complete stuff, to when you finally decide to actually be able to commit 100% to it. Or like when you're in high school, yes, you do have things that are like on your plate. And I actually was working when I was in high school compared to when I was in college. But still, when I decided, oh, I actually need to sit here and get this done, I was actually able to have the time to commit 100% to it. Whereas now, like, I'm graduated and I'm working full time because I have bills to pay and I have to feed myself and just keep my space clean and livable and things like that. So at the end of the day, like my responsibility level at the times that I was procrastinating before is not the same as what it is now. So even when I said to myself, like, oh, Hannah, like now's the time to get it done, I wasn't able to commit 100% of my time to it because I still had to go to work. And even when I was done work, I still had errands to run or things to take care of. And then it's also just kind of like how draining that stuff can be. So it's like even when it's a day off, I'm just like, I don't want to get out of bed early to work on this project. Like this is the only day that I don't have to leave the damn house, that I don't have to go and do all these things that I'm obligated to do. So, you know what I'm saying? So that was like something that I was like in that mindset of like, oh, I'll just rush and get it done like I always did. The things that are going on in your life and the things that you are committed to and have responsibilities for is not the same. So that was another thing. Like, that's what I mean. Like, sorry, part of what I say, I was not being realistic and meeting myself where I was. Because if I was, I would have said, girl, sure, you could get it done in a week. But that's assuming that this is a week where you don't have work and you don't have errands. Like, or you can do things other than just lay on the ground after work because you're tired. Like, I don't know. I don't know. And that's the thing, like I wasn't thinking. Um what was I saying? Hmm, it's coming back. It's coming back. Um okay, so it wasn't actually even like sustainable when I was doing it then. I feel like to a certain extent I was kind of like, I don't know if romanticizing is a good word for it, but just kind of being like, oh yeah, like I used to be able to do all of this and never be tired, like, you know, pull an all-nighter and still go to school and ace this test and then study all night again and just like stuff like that. And just, and I would always say like, oh, like I was never tired or it never bothered me that like it does now. And then you kind of start to feel like, well, I don't know about you, but I know I start to feel like, you know, like maybe there's something wrong with me. Like, why can't I perform at that level that I used to before? But then it's like, girl, first of all, were you not tired or were you just ignoring that you were tired? Were you not bothered by it or were you just unaware of what being uncomfortable felt like in your own body because of how you've been going about your life, which is not in touch with yourself? So if you aren't in tune with your emotions and aware and you aren't open to the signals your body is sending you to say, hey, like, I'm actually very tired right now. I actually don't feel great right now. How are you going to know? Like, so that's another thing too. Like, I'm over here acting like, damn, like, really falling off. But it's like, no, like, you're just listening to your body. Okay, you're listening when your body says, hi, I want that 8 hours of sleep. Okay, like, I actually don't want to just eat snacks because you feel like you don't have the time to get up and have a good meal because I'm like, I'm hungry, bitch. Like, I want more than this fucking popcorn. So it's like, again, like, I was not coming from a place of like reality and being in touch with myself when I was over there saying like, damn, Hannah, you couldn't have just powered through like you normally do to get everything done. And it's like, no, I couldn't have. And that's not a bad thing. Like, what the way that I was living and just kind of like pushing through everything when I was younger was not cute. It was not sustainable and it was not good. But I was not in a mind space to be open to that or to even like recognize these things because I was like, my body was on earth. I was in a different dimension. Forget a different room. Like I was checked out. I was gone. I said, body or machine, you know, like, so that's what I mean when I say I went into this whole portfolio situation with a mindset that was not based in reality. Had I been meeting myself where I was, I would have said like one, you know, maybe the number of projects you're trying to do, you need to lessen. And not that you can't do them, but maybe not all at the same time, or maybe not all of those within such a short like time span, right? And two, like, yes, technically you do have these days off and you do happen to get off these days early, but you still have to remember that you have other things to do. I mean, this day you literally might have to use the whole rest of your day to wash your hair because it takes time. Maybe you have to go to the grocery store. And for me, like, grocery stores, I hate them. So when I go to the grocery store, I don't do anything else because I used all my energy going to that damn store. Okay? Like, I did what I needed to do for that day. I'm done. Right? So it would have been like taking into account with all my planning and being like, oh, I have all this time. Is like, yes, but you do still have other commitments and you do have other things that might affect how you're actually able to use this time. Um, and then, like, again, like, even just coming within that mindset of like this imaginary level that I need to perform at, this imaginary perfect thing that I'm trying to chase after so I can put it on my portfolio. And it's just going to be, I don't know, the perfect uh the perfect fucking garment and I'm gonna be hired by everybody like you know what I mean, like had I not been so busy trying to just like bulldoze, I would have taken a second and been like, hey, I think maybe you need to take some time and check in with yourself because the way that you're feeling anxious, the way that you're kind of freezing up and not doing anything, part of it again is because like you're acting like you have more energy to go around than you actually do. But even in the times when you do have time to do it and you don't feel too tired to do it, you're still choosing not to. So even in times like those, I feel like I should have taken the time to check in with myself and say, hey, girl, what else is going on? Okay, because I feel like your fear of not being able to perform at that level is making you not do anything at all. I should have checked in with myself and said, like, what is this imaginary level? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why are you putting the standard on yourself? For what? For who? For why? Okay. So I just jumped right in. We're already at 23 minutes. Um, and I hope everything that I said like made sense because it's like I blacked out. I don't even like, but I guess what was I saying? I do it all the time. I just start talking. So this is what's in my heart. But once I say the words that are out of my brain, I couldn't recall to you one thing I said. Like I'm aware the gist of it, but I couldn't say word for word. So, and that's like for any of my podcasts. If I ever start repeating myself a lot, understand it's because I truly believe that I have not already said it. So, a little tidbit for you. I'm trying to see myself in the mirror. I can't tell if my head's being like cut off in the camera. But anyways, yeah. So that's what I meant about like not meeting myself where I was at. I feel like when I was approaching this situation, I could have one been a little more realistic, as I said, about the time that I actually have, right? Because just because it's a day off on my calendar or a day I get off early doesn't mean I actually have all that time just to work on that garment. Because as I said, you're an adult, unfortunately, there's responsibilities and shit, you know? Um, and then even too as well, just more like compassion for myself, and I don't know a good word for it, but just time, I guess, like, or patience. Patience be a good word to like check in with myself more and just be like, hey, you know, are you okay? Because I feel like you might be operating from a place of anxiety without even realizing it, and that's causing you to shut down. And that's why we are where we are, where it's like the day before and you're like freaking the fuck out. So, yeah. So that, like, because the deadline, like, it's a done situation, and that's what was going on in May. And that's why I didn't post anything in May, because I was running around trying to finish stuff. Um, yeah. So there's that. But like it was not an enjoyable situation, but I do think I needed to kind of like have that moment, I guess, because I've known for a little bit that like I need to be making a better effort when it comes to like checking in with myself, or just like how I'm managing my time, you know, kind of being aware that like I need to make sure that I am putting in more time for like time with friends, time for myself, not even just in the self-care sense, like um well, no, this definitely does count as self-care, but I mean like doing a face mask type of self-care. I mean self-care in the sense of like I also just give myself time just to like just to be, not to have to do anything, you know, even though doing like a face mask or doing my nails, like those are things that I enjoy. Like that is my form of like relaxation. For everyone it's going to be different. For someone it could be like gaming or baking or painting. I do enjoy painting. But even just having to do those is still having to do something. So it's good to give yourself time just to exist, just to be, right? And I wasn't giving myself time for that, let alone the face mask, let alone the time for friends and stuff like that. So yeah, I've known for a little bit that like how I manage my time, I need to start kind of, I needed to make tweaks there. I needed to adjust. But it wasn't really doing any of that. I just like to say, oh, yeah, I know. And then I don't act like I know. And then I have problems. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, how could this happen? Like, I can't believe. And then it's like, wait a minute. Didn't you have a whole epiphany moment about the fact that you, I don't even know, like, just whatever, right? So then it's like, you shouldn't be surprised, bitch. Like, this is literally the consequences of your own actions. Like, yeah. But like, I don't know, I feel like everyone has that moment that's like, I don't want to say rock bottom because it was really not that deep, but just a moment where it's like you really can't choose to act a fool anymore. um and that was that moment for me. I was like, damn girl, you know, on one hand, I don't want to like completely shit on the situation because I did do my best and I did still finish some of the projects and have things to submit. And at the end of the day, like trying to find time to create on top of other responsibilities is not easy. So I do want to like take that time to be like, let's not act like you did nothing the whole situation, right? Like you still did a lot and you still did all of that, still having a lot of other things going on in your life. So I'm gonna take a moment. I'm gonna sit with that. I'm gonna sit with it. This is something actually that my therapist kind of pointed out to me, and I was like, you know what, girl, you're right. I feel like I've definitely been like kind of beating up on myself about the situation. And as much as I do feel like it was a lesson learned, I also feel like I was being maybe too negative about it in the sense that I wasn't acknowledging how much work I did do and how much I did still take on top of things that I already have to do. So, a moment of silence. Okay, I've taken it in. Breathed it in. Um, yeah. So, where does that leave me? You know, I say I know these things, but I haven't been acting like it. Well, I've been acting like it recently. I've been acting like it. That's why I'm here. Um, because you know what, funnily enough, like this is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit. Like just that idea of knowing that you can't act the way that you used to, you can't do the things that you used to, and that's not in a bad thing. Like honestly, for me, it's probably the best thing I've ever done for myself, like realizing that I have limits, boundaries, and that maybe I should honor and accept them. It was a it was a hard pill to swallow, which sounds crazy, but at the same time, the way that I said it to you guys was not how I was saying it to myself. So I also did need to like reframe that shit because I was just over here like, damn, girl, fucking washed up at 22. You can't even do any of these things that you could when you were 15 and blah, blah, blah. And that's why like I struggled and I was struggling. Like, as I said, just meet myself where I'm at. So like kind of going through that reframing, but also just kind of like hitting a moment like, and I do feel like the seasons did have something to do with it. It's summer. You're supposed to be enjoying your life. Like I and I said it and I'm gonna keep saying it. I can't stand the cold. I'm not built for it. It does things to me physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I don't even know if there's any others. Intellectually, it does things to me. Okay. Um, so anytime it's summer, immediately I'm like, girl, live, laugh, love. Okay. I'm out and about. I'm just going to enjoy life, right? So just kind of like having that mind, I kind of hate saying mindset shift, but that's true. That's what it is. I do this every year. The second it starts getting warm and consistently warm, because Canada, they love to tease. They're like, heat wave and put your winter jacket back on. Here's a snowstorm, and now you can actually maybe go to the beach. You can't go in the water yet though because it's still fucking freezing. But you can get a nice little tan on because we're gonna have a nice 3-day weekend. And now it's autumn. It's chilly. You need a light jacket, but prepare to sweat in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So that's fine. Like when it gets consistently warm, then it's like, okay, I can commit. My winter jacket is away for real. It better be for real, for good. Or, this global warming thing is, was it always serious? Yes. Is it apocalyptic? I don't think so. I don't think it's that deep yet. Um, but we all gotta do our part. So, that's a topic for a different day. I feel like if I start talking too much about the environment, not that it's not important, we're gonna get too derailed, and I won't get to the heart of the heart of my story, the heart of what I learned. Okay, so we're back on track. So it's summertime, and I'm saying life is for enjoyment. How can I enjoy my life if I'm causing myself stress? It doesn't add up, and that's exactly what I was doing. Not like respecting my own boundaries, not respecting my own limits. So now I'm tired, I'm burnt out, I'm irritated, I'm depressed. Do those things sound like enjoyment to you? They're not. So when I was like, it's hot girl summertime. And I feel like at this point, hot girl summer has evolved past, doing whole things. We're not shading on that. But at this point, like hot girl summer is an energy, it is a lifestyle. Okay. It is like the embodiment of you're driving to the beach, all the four windows down. You got the baddest bitches in your crew in the car. They're driving. The one who's got the good playlist is on aux. and then you all yell hot girl summer together out the window, and you're doing like a little cackling laugh after. That moment, if we could bottle that moment where we're with your friends and you're all just laughing together at something and like cackling, like obnoxious, these people, so you can let this laugh out. When you say hot girl summer, that's what I think of, right? It's enjoyment. Okay. So we have transcended past our whole things. Is it included in the umbrella? Yes, but that's not all we're bringing to the table when we say hot girl summer. Um, I didn't know I felt so strongly about that until I said it. But yeah, like I was like, girl, you need what's going on? I had to start looking and saying like, why am I like feeling so run down all the time when I'm trying to enjoy myself? And then you start looking and going, well, you know what? Like, when's the last time you did anything for yourself? You know, when's the last time you weren't running late for work and just like hating your life because you didn't eat breakfast and you know you need 3 meals or you get mean? You know what I'm saying? Just like little things like that. Like the way that I was going about my life was not helpful to me at all. So when I start saying to myself, like, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need to make some lifestyle changes. Maybe I do need to start changing the way that I'm thinking about things because it's hampering on my hot girl summer. And that is also, I guess, maybe a motivation source for me because Feral is me in the summer. Okay. I see one patio and I start acting crazy. Um, so kind of like having that, just being like, okay, girl, we are 10 toes down on enjoyment, like grip. We got an iron grip on enjoyment. So then at that point, whatever that's not helping has got to go. It's got to go. Um, and I just feel like there definitely was a part of me that had like anxiety because like meeting yourself where you are involves like self love and compassion and just like, yeah, because like I would always think like, you know what, if I wasn't doing all of these things, then like I would be, I don't know, like scared that my life wouldn't turn out how I wanted or that I'm not like the type of person that I thought I was. Just all those types of things were kind of really preventing me from really just like making actual changes that I need to. Or also just kind of that feeling that I should be able to make things work as they are and maybe there's like something wrong with me if I'm not. So all those ideas running around that I'm like holding on to is preventing me from actually like making changes that I need to, because if I did, then those changes would be coming from a place of love, and that's not necessarily something that I have like that I was having for myself. But when summertime came around, I said I don't give a fuck. I'm jumping in this pool. Okay, I don't know. It's like it was like just what I needed to kind of finally push me over the edge and just be like what are your options here? Like be stressed all the time or just care about yourself. Like, and when I started looking at it like that, I was like, what have I been doing? Like, those fears were valid, yes, and they were coming, like, I understand where they were coming from. So I did need to obviously take the time to acknowledge that those fears were even there in the first place. But I mean, like, the point I was at now, like, there always comes a point where you have to, like, look at those fears and go, okay, and like, yes, you're there. Yes, you're valid. But I still have other shit to do. I still have choices that I need to make. And I don't know. I hit that point where I was just like at my okay and. Like, either you keep living your shit life or you enjoy your life and you make the changes, right? So that's what I did. That's what I did. Um, and has it been great? And I've been enjoying it, yes, but it's obviously still a lot of hard work. And yeah, okay, it's to be expected, but I think we've also previously covered the shock that I have when it comes to how much work goes into things. Okay? And that's on previous episodes. And if you didn't watch them, I don't know, maybe you should. Totally up to you. Oh, and you know what? You may as well subscribe. We're 40 minutes in, but it's never too late to plug. Um, yeah. So at this point, I said I said the situation. I'm trying to figure out where I even am in my own mind right now. Damn. Um, yeah, yeah. So I said, yeah, I really need to actually start meeting myself where I am. Um, and even though it did take a lot for me to get into that mindset where I actually could, I did get there. I did get there. Because sometimes it really is just like it needs to be a tough love, and you just need to say, like, okay, and like, do it. Because what are your other options? Okay, because enjoyment, not non enjoyment, is not an option. Those are Hot Girl Summer laws. Okay, and that's the only good book I live by. Yeah. So what do those changes look like? For everybody, it's going to be different. But I think some things that I felt like helped me because I'm always like taking everything in all at once. Like that's me. I am always like big picture thinking 5 years into the future. So I sometimes just feel like overwhelmed when I need to make changes because I just don't even know where to start. I'm just like, oh my god, it's everything. You know, throw the whole girl away. Like, um, so first and foremost, just kind of like checking in with myself. So I was aware of times when I just felt like super overwhelmed or like overly exhausted, or irritated. And then I can look at those situations and go, well, what exactly made you like feel this way? And again, like the grocery store example, I had to acknowledge how much those bitches stress me the fuck out. Um, and I'm not in a place where I can just be like, fucking, what is it, like Uber Eating my groceries to me. Um, but what I did start doing, um, what am I saying? I can't be Uber Eating my groceries to me. So I still need to go to the grocery store. That's what I had to realize. So that's not something I can change. But what I can change is how stressful the situation is. I started bringing my headphones. I got those loop earplugs. I haven't used them. I'll let you guys know how they are. But I started bringing my headphones with me. I started bringing a list. Actually, I always brought a list, but the issue was I would be in the grocery store and I would get anxiety. And I would say, but what if it's not enough food? So I just started to remind myself, then you can come back, bitch. Like, it's fine. Get only what's on your list, and if it's not enough, you know for next time to plan differently, and you can just come back to the grocery store later. That's also something that helped me like stay in budget. Having some like substitutes, because again, I'm in the grocery store. I didn't want to be there, and now they're fucking. They're the cucumbers are all mushy. They're all looking rats, and that was on my list. And now I'm down to vegetable, and I'm spiraling. I'm not okay. Now what do I eat? I'm gonna starve. I can't function. So having substitutes, or even again, just saying, bitch, just leave it. You have to think of a substitute and just run in, run out, get it tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Right? I started going to smaller grocery stores. There's a lot of like produce stands, and they have better produce. I feel like my blueberries do not spoil in 2 days anymore. So I don't know what the fuck they're putting on them, like big chain grocery store berries, but fuck them. I started going to smaller produce stands, and I'm very lucky to live in an area like where I have those. Um, Smaller grocery stores, less people. I started going way earlier, so again, less people. Um, what was the other thing? Oh, I don't do anything else in my day. I understand that takes a lot out of me. So instead of like pushing myself to the very edge because I went to the grocery store and then I came home and then I am like reorganizing my room and doing God knows what else. Sometimes I do have to go to the grocery store after work or something like that. But then at the end of the day, like when I get home after I've gone to the grocery store, I'm not doing anything else. Okay. I'm laying in my bed. I'm watching a movie. Maybe I'll go sit in the park. But the point is, low stress activities, baby. No stress. So that's what I mean when I say figuring out where the areas where you're feeling like anxious, overly tired, overstimulated. You can look at those areas and say like you can't always avoid. So how can you minimize? How can you manage? How can you make this less like world ending? Um, so that's what I did, and then I just started like writing a list down and saying like, okay, you know what? These are the things that I am struggling with, and like always get help. Okay, I love talking to my coworkers, my friends, and just being like, hey, like, what the fuck do you do? you know. Um, And that's how I even like thought about going to small grocery stores because one of my coworkers was talking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, tell me more. So phone a friend. Community is important. And even in that sense, maybe if you don't have people you can ask in real life, online, online is good. It can actually, I wouldn't say it can be harder. I think even if you're asking people in real life, obviously think about the things that they're saying to you, right? Because people say crazy things sometimes. I feel like maybe people are less likely to in person. People like to act crazy online because they feel that there's like that, I don't know, the armor of being behind a screen. Um, yeah, but just take the time to think about any information that you're receiving just to make sure that it's legitimate, you know? Um, yeah, TikTok, I've learned a lot from TikTok, honestly. Um, yeah, shout out to the neurodivergent community for changing my life one TikTok at a time. It's been great. What else? Um, yeah, that's how I did it. That's how I started meeting myself, like where I was, like one that acknowledging when I felt uncomfortable or just kind of like emotions that are commonly associated with negative things. Because at the end of the day, like they actually aren't negative, but I think sometimes the way that they are handled and the way that other people can receive them, they have like negative associations, right? Like, but that's not the case. They're there for a reason. They're your warning signs. And yeah, like you need those so you don't end up burnt out, so you don't go overboard. So allowing yourself that space and that kindness to acknowledge when you're having these emotions, taking the time to check in. So I was, aware I wasn't always just running on autopilot. Um, Writing things down, so that I could look back and be like, isn't it a little bit suspicious that every time you end up feeling overtired, it's because you did XYZ in the same day or something like that? And then research, community, ask for help, let people know that this is something that you're struggling with because you'd be surprised where you could maybe like receive support from. And even just kind of hearing what other people's experience have been and that they've maybe gone through these things or something similar can also just help you not feel like, damn, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I going through this? Like, no, unfortunately, I don't know, it's a human experience. Um, but it's not the end of the world and it doesn't have to be lonely. Um, yep. We're at 49. We're kind of almost on the hour. Um, but that's kind of all I have to say about like just meeting yourself where you are. I will say actually, this is a testimonial now. It's worth it. I just realized my phone stopped recording. Okay, well, there's just not going to be a picture for God knows how long of this. But again, like, hear my voice. Not steamy. So it's okay. But I wonder when that happened. Damn. Okay. I don't remember what I was gonna say. It'll come back to me. Um. Oh, testimonial. Testimonial. If you're wondering, is it even worth it for me to go down this route by myself, or like just in general? I'm gonna say the answer is yes. This is why it's a testimonial. This is my personal opinion on meeting yourself where you're at and life enjoyment. What are your other options? Like, I am genuinely curious. What are they? Um, what else is life for? Like, you're here. You didn't have a choice about it, but what you do have a choice about is how you go through it, right? Like, obviously, to a certain extent, like when you're younger, you can only control so much, but that's not the case forever. That's important to note. You know, you're not young forever, and that's a good thing. And people on TikTok need to stop freaking out about aging. It's getting weird. I don't know. Not weird actually. There's a lot that goes into it, but take some time and ask yourself, why are you scared of aging? You know, what unconscious thoughts are being influenced, by other people? You know, just think about it. You know, are you scared of aging, or are you scared of being demonized for being old? Okay, especially as a woman, because we have all seen how the media likes to treat women once they hit a certain age. So that's what I mean when I say, like, is this an actual fear, or like how much of it is being influenced by other people? Anyways, and that's the segment on aging. Why are you scared? Um, I don't know. I obviously understand that I am like younger, and everyone's like, oh, you might feel different when you get older. But also, I don't think I will, because I didn't think I would even make it to this age. So you're telling me I'm going to make it even farther and I'm going to be upset about it? Because I don't know. But again, that depends all on like how you look at it. Like, I'm very excited to have more time on this earth to enjoy it. And I have more fucking money to enjoy it. Damn. You know what comes with money? I mean, you know what comes with age? Money. That's what I hope. And if that's not the case, then I might be a little bit bummed about it. But you can still enjoy life on a budget. All right, now and for real, that's the end of that segment. Aging. Why are you scared? Um, but it really is. I don't know. And this is my personal philosophy on life. Nothing matters in the sense of like it. Okay, I don't want to say nothing matters. Okay, I am someone who actually has a very deep love for life in general, in all its forms, from the tree to the shining. Too many S's, damn. To the sunshine, to family and friends, to being able to sit in my bed, to the feeling of getting under warm blankets after a chilly day. It's all life and it's all lovely to me. And yes, I am a Libra. Um, so when I say nothing matters, I don't mean that. I mean nothing matters in the sense of like, if nothing matters, then you get to choose. So why would you choose misery? And I don't say that like it's not always a conscious choice. As someone who used to be very negative, and as I literally was telling you less than 20 minutes ago how much I beat up on myself, it's not always a conscious thing. But at the end of the day, it's still an attitude or behavior that you could change. So why not? Like, what does it matter if you don't? But what does it matter if you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think there can kind of be this like mindset, especially if maybe you've seen some crazy things at an age when maybe you shouldn't have, or just like, heartbreak, trauma, whatever it may be. Just that kind of idea that like you should stay in your misery because, like, if you go out there and you enjoy your life and maybe it goes bad again, or just kind of like seeing it as like a joke or naive to choose to enjoy your life if you've seen that life is can be really shitty sometimes. But that's when I start to say, but why does it matter? What does it matter if it's a joke? Who's laughing at you? Nobody. There's nobody here to laugh at you. And if they are, even then, like, why does that matter? They're all flesh bags, just like you, floating around on this fucking rock that we're calling a planet. Why does it matter? It doesn't. So, like I said, like, if this is where we are, you know, where we're kind of having that fear of enjoyment for whatever reason that may be, where's that fear coming from? And is it something that actually, like, really matters? Like, when you really start to think about it. And me and my personal philosophy, the answer is no. Maybe life is a big fucking joke. I don't care. I'm laughing. I had a good time and I did it with people that I loved. So at the end of the day, when I pass on, I hope I get to do it with a little smile on my face, a little smirk, you know? So that's my personal philosophy. That's my testimonial on why you should choose to enjoy your life. Because why the fuck not? You know? Why not? If nothing truly matters in this world, why choose misery? Just something to think about. And as I said before, I don't mean that in a harsh way. I don't know if there's maybe a better way I could have said it, but conscious or unconscious, coming from a place of old habits or traumas, when you make certain choices, you are choosing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You are choosing to be miserable. And it's a shit pill to swallow. Just while I'm swallowing, that's how I know what it tastes like. You know, when you choose to do that, then what? Just something to consider. Yeah, that was a glimpse into my mind. Did you like what you saw in there? Are you scared? Should I never share any of my personal philosophies again? I'm still going to. Yeah, that was me in my room talking. I'm back. I'm more committed. Happy Pride! Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to definitely update you on like how that goes and like how I actually am starting to make these changes, because I do have like some new things I'm going to be trying out in terms of like activities and like some practices and like a new routine. But I need to actually, it's still too fresh, I feel, to say anything. So next podcast we'll touch base because that'll be a month. So yeah, please go out, enjoy yourselves. Hot girl summer, okay? Because what the fuck are your other options? Feel free to let me know in the comments what type of summer you're gonna have. You know, what does that entail? Are you a beach goer? Are you a museum person? I don't know. But let me know because I'd love to hear it. Um, Thanks for listening in. Goodbye. And also, again, like, I'm gonna say it again. Anything I say, I am not coming from a place of harshness. I'm not coming from like a high and mighty place. I'm coming from, this is just my experience. This is how I feel about the situation. And if you don't feel the same, that's okay. But never feel that I am like trying to attack anybody who's listening or shit on anybody who's listening, especially when I'm talking about like mental health things. Okay? Because I'm in that boat, bitch. Okay? Yeah. Okay, bye for real. Thanks for stopping by. You can leave my room now. Unless you want to help me clean. Also, why am I waving to the camera like it's still recording?